Hi. We're here. We made it. Oh, this is a good start.
Oh, that's
we
a
made
keeper.
it.
We made it.
Welcome, everybody, to Sidewalk Slam.
Yeah.
The show where we discuss wrestling narrative and storyline.
Yeah.
Generally to do with the main roster product of WWE, but not exclusively this time.
No.
No, today we're talking about all of it.
I know we've said this before, but it's a bold new horizon.
There was the great pro wrestling reset of 2019
Yeah,
occurred.
it was like somebody decided they were just like, restart it all. Fuck it.
Yeah, and it didn't pan out for everybody.
No, not
but
everybody.
Yeah, to give you an overview
Yeah.
of what is available to you, the pro wrestling viewer and fan.
Mm-hmm.
Monday nights, Raw.
Yep.
The longest running weekly, episodic, unscripted, whatever, all their caveats. It's been on the TV for a very long time.
Yeah. It's a TV show.
Tuesday nights, not being discussed on this episode because I forgot it existed. Impact is still happening.
Yeah. Impact is a thing.
Impact
Apparently,
Wrestling. Apparently, Bound for Glory was entertaining.
Yeah.
I have not watched it.
Tessa Blanchard is really tearing the house down.
Good for her.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, AEW
Yes.
on TNT
Yes.
and NXT on USA Network. They've brought NXT to actual television, the same network as Raw, and it is going head-to-head. It's the Wednesday Night Wars between NXT and AEW All Elite Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The first time it's felt like WWE has actually had competition in a very long time.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing to have it on TNT, the channel that WCW was on, with Tony Schiavone on commentary.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's wild. That's Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone, him of the looks like some sort of sidewalk slam.
Thanks, Tony.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
Also on Tuesdays actually is AEW Dark, which is an hour-long show of the dark matches before and after an episode of AEW Dynamite.
Yes.
Which is what their Wednesday TV show is.
Mm-hmm.
Fridays is Friday Night SmackDown, now back on Fridays, and on Fox.
Yes.
This is huge.
This is a big deal.
This is a $200 million deal with Fox giving a lot of media push to SmackDown.
Dude, Troy Aikman was on the show.
Do
you know who Troy Aikman is?
No, but it's wild. They had
Yes, I do.
Good, thanks, Peach.
Yeah.
They had Becky showing up at football games. They had all these ads they were running, huge groundswell of support for this thing. So this was all in the same week. They called it, for whatever reason, they called it the season premiere of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And then the first real episode, because they had 2 weeks of kind of tester episodes that were half on TV and half on the network, of NXT on Wednesday, the first episode of AEW Dynamite on the same Wednesday, the first episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. That was all 1 week.
Yeah.
It's a wild week to be a fan of pro wrestling.
Yep.
And how's that all worked out? Because here's the thing. The last episode of Sidewalk Slam that we did was
a long time ago, man.
in the before times.
Times.
I don't even remember what pay-per-view it was. It was the one before Clash of Champions.
It was Extreme Rules?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
And
it's been a couple months.
yeah, and so we realized that every episode of Sidewalk Slam was that we were talking about a pay-per-view, but we spent a lot of time talking about the build-up and everything and how it got there. Mm-hmm. And so maybe we should just talk about the build, go back to our roots, really.
Yeah. Focus less on the pay-per-views, not doing a monthly show where we talk about the pay-per-view and try to cram a bunch of conversations in.
Yeah.
But keep it more we've basically split up the shows.
Yeah.
Between
adults. we have assignments.
Yeah, I get the shows on the weekends and Graham gets the weekday shows.
I'm doing wait a minute. Hang on. I didn't even mention Saturday or Sunday. I'm watching Raw and Adam's watching SmackDown.
Yeah, and then we're kind of just I mean, I'm watching AEW because it's
I'm
fun.
also watching AEW, yeah.
And then
oh yeah, I forgot to mention on Thursdays actually. low key, one of my favorite wrestling things that's happening right now.
Yeah.
NWA Power.
Yeah, Power.
NWA is back. This is under the supervision of weird conspiracy theorist and former Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corrigan.
Oh yeah, Billy.
Yeah.
Remember when Billy bought TNA?
Yeah, well,
Didn't he buy TNA, or wasn't he rumored to buy TNA?
No, he bought NWA.
Oh, he bought NWA.
So he was working with Anthem Entertainment on TNA Impact. And
he was working with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a stockholder. They had a falling out. He got a bunch of money from that and then bought NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. If nothing else, it's a name with pedigree. It's the longest running. It's a big thing, but hasn't been. It's a big thing in theory, but it hasn't been an actual big thing in years.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about NWA Power later in the show
It's hokey and it's weird, but it's kind of great.
It's so endearing.
Yeah.
It's also free on YouTube. You should watch it. So, where are we at? WWE. I'm going to quickly run down where everything was at after Clash of Champions.
Yes.
Because the Clash of Champions pay-per-view happened. That's the one where every championship is defended.
Yeah.
After which, this is how everything looked. Drew Gulak is your Cruiserweight champion. The Cruiserweight title is now an NXT title.
Yes.
Don't worry about that. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll forget to talk about it. AJ Styles is your U.S. champion. AJ is still part of the original club with him and Gallows and Anderson.
Well, we never talked. We didn't even talk about that.
I know we talked about that.
Did we?
At,
we
Extreme
did.
Rules.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Or not the original. They are part of the original club. Yeah. Okay. Cool. This is after Clash of Champions. This will change over the course of the show. All of these things we're talking about, perhaps. The Raw Tag Champions are Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, who are a team for some reason, and they defeated that night Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, who were thrown together, won the tag titles from, I want to say, the Revival, who were the Raw Tag Champs, remember?
No, they beat the club for it.
They beat the club. Okay, that makes more sense. The Revival...
They beat the OC.
The wild card rule happened, and suddenly the Revival were on SmackDown. Nothing made sense.
Nothing made sense for the longest time. I think that's why, because let's be, okay, honestly, we didn't record the show because the product honked. It was just not fun to watch, and none of it made sense. And even now, it still doesn't really make much sense. But
when discussing the show, when discussing the things that we're watching leading up to recording this episode, we both use the word dire a lot. Actually, I think I'm going to go one further than that. I recall typing to you in our Slack. I was like, wow, is Raw ever shit? When are we recording? It's not been great, the WWE mainline product. So yeah, the Rollins and Strowman were the champs that night and they lost the titles, and then they had a championship match in the main event that same night. Yeah. It was a weird thing they were doing. The SmackDown Tag Team champs at Clash of Champions were the Revival. Because I don't know when they moved brands, but okay.
Yeah, because it's like there was like a period of time where the Revival were the Raw Tag Team champs. They lost to the OC, and then the OC lost to Braun and Seth, and then like literally that week, the Revival went to SmackDown, won the SmackDown Tag Team champions or championships, and then just like it's like cool, man.
Women's tag champs are Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Yeah. SmackDown Women's Champion is Bayley. The Raw Women's Champion is still Becky. The Intercontinental Champion, who I have not seen in 3 years, is Shinsuke Nakamura.
I saw him.
Because you watched SmackDown. Yeah. The WWE Champion is still Kofi Kingston. The Universal Champion remains Seth Rollins. At the end of Clash of Champions, he defeated Braun Strowman, and then The Fiend appeared and menaced him. Yeah, this is Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. The Fiend Bray Wyatt, as they now call him. So he showed up and was just sort of generally menacing. Also on this card, Roman Reigns had a no DQ match against Eric Rowan.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that storyline later.
We'll talk about it.
It's not good.
We'll talk about it when you're older.
So, Monday Night Raw, the season premiere.
Yep.
What the heck does that mean?
I don't know, Graham.
They're using that term as like a soft reset, and also trying to hype up this notion of what they've determined is Wrestling Premiere Week, because they had what they called the season premiere of Raw. They had the new season of Total Bellas. Cool.
I can't believe that show still goes.
I can't believe Ronda Rousey's on that show now.
Wait, Ronda Rousey's on Total Bellas?
Yeah. Or Total Divas.
Total Divas.
Yeah, sorry.
Total Bellas.
Yeah. I think Total
Divas
Bellas still
show,
exists.
eh?
Yeah. Anyway,
Ronda Rousey's on it.
and then NXT, and then Friday Night SmackDown. That was all happening the same week. So they were like, "It's a wrestling premiere week."
Yeah.
So what is that? What does a season premiere mean? On
Absolutely
Monday Night Raw?
nothing.
Well, so there's a new set. There's a new set. It's got a big curve in it.
Yeah.
There's a new opening title
There's
theme.
a big curve. Let's put a big curve.
Put a
in it.
ramp in the set.
Yeah, that'll distract them.
There's a new opening title theme and opening title intro.
Yeah.
And an entire new commentary team.
Yes.
Michael Cole and Corey Graves are SmackDown only. They're putting their best foot forward on Fox because SmackDown is now the A show. And the B show is now voiced by a 3-man booth of Vic Joseph,
Yeah.
who I had never heard of, but apparently had been
UK.
doing NXT UK for a while. Dio Madden, who had been doing some commentary for NXT as well.
And thought you were doing commentary,
main
but it
event,
was
I think?
me.
He would probably appreciate that reference. He's on Twitter as the Great Black Otaku, and
Do you get that reference?
I get that reference.
of course he gets that reference. He's great.
Great name. By the
Oh
way.
yeah. There's a bit where Aleister Black comes out, and Vic Joseph's like, "Oh, this creepy guy," and Dio's just says, seemingly apropos of nothing, but it sort of fits with Aleister Black's sort of aesthetic. He just sort of goes, "Oh, what a terrible night to have a curse." And I was like, man, this guy's a nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, he posted a picture to Twitter being like, heading to NXT Nashville or whatever, of like him in the front seat of a car, and in the passenger seat beside him, buckled in, was an Asuka Langley body pillow.
Who?
From Evangelion.
The red one.
I've never seen Evangelion.
The red girl.
She's the red one.
Yeah. You'd recognize a picture of her if you saw her.
Yeah.
She's an anime waifu. Okay. Anyway, the point is
She's
a big
on
nerd.
the screen now.
So Vic.
Oh, yeah. She's on the screen now.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
So Vic Joseph, Dio Madden, and Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, he's back.
He's less annoying.
Is he?
Less. Yeah, he is.
That's not saying much.
He's had a
that flu was less bad. You know?
he's had
Still the flu.
He's had a couple moments, but generally he's there to support the other two. He's even said that like he's not there permanently. He's there to help Vic and Dio sort of find their footing as they've now been thrust into the commentary team of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
King's best line in these several weeks was just as an aside, he said, "If you want to find out if there's life after death, try wrestling Dolph Ziggler."
Damn. Yeah.
Because he had a match against Dolph Ziggler immediately after which he almost died. He died.
He died.
He at ringside legally died.
Holy shit.
He had a heart attack.
on Monday Night Raw
Yeah.
because he was on commentary, got up, did a match with Dolph Ziggler, went back to commentary, had a heart attack, and was pronounced legally dead on the show. Not a joke.
No, I feel
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? The show didn't stop.
The show did not stop. They stopped doing commentary. They were like, "We out." And so there was just, you got this weird like Sheamus versus Cesaro match that was totally without commentary and was like kind of great. But yeah, and then he got better that night. He was awake again later that day, obviously, and then has been fine since, and is still moving around and doing stuff and wrestling and everything.
So the reanimated corpse of Jerry Lawler for the last 10 years.
just to have him be like, "Oh, if you want to find out if there's life after death, try wrestling Dolph Ziggler." It was just like, wow, all right.
Okay, that's
Primo.
pretty good. But they've been good?
Honestly, the commentary team has been pretty good. I'll tell you, I found out something funny, which is that if you are watching Vic Joseph at 1.5 speed sounds almost exactly like Michael Cole.
Oh, weird.
Because I've been watching these episodes at 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
So
I actually didn't realize that I gave you the short end of the stick because I gave you the way longer show.
Oh man,
because I was watching SmackDown last night. I was like, "Ooh, an hour!" I was all like, "I'm like, ooh,
I
that's a nice
guarantee you,
brisk like." Wash my hands, and I'm like, "Oh wait."
I guarantee you, they don't do anything more interesting with that time.
No, I guarantee you they don't. I
So-
know if it's the same Raw, it's always been. But Graham, I thought, okay, so we didn't talk about how because there was all these announcements about how there were new creative teams taking over Raw and SmackDown. That's what was ushering this. This is why all this happened, because they had all these new premieres and like, don't worry, everybody, we're listening to the fans. So we're going to get some
writers?
new writers.
They went to the stockholders and they were like, "We want your approval to create 2 new roles in the company of a creative director for Raw and SmackDown."
Yeah.
Paul Heyman is going to be the creative director for Raw. Spoiler, that has not seemed to have any influence on the show because Vince still gets final approval. Eric Bischoff, former head of WCW, is going to be the creative director for Friday Night SmackDown. He is already fired.
He's already gone.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently he didn't know anyone, didn't get involved, hung out in catering, may have just been there literally, and he may have been fully aware of this too, to just be a fall guy for when Fox gets mad. Which already happened.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then who's the next fall guy? Oh, I see.
Bruce Pritchard.
Oh yeah, Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard has been with the WWE on and off for forever.
Okay.
He's like, essentially, he's Vince's right-hand man.
Yeah.
He was Vince's right-hand man in the 80s.
Brother
Love.
Brother Love.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard.
The red-faced
The
guy.
red-faced
Yes!
dude. I love you.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he does a very good
Yeah.
podcast, actually.
Wow.
There's a guy who does a lot of he does the podcast with Eric Bischoff, the Conrad Thompson dude.
Oh, yeah.
He's the co-host, and he does this podcast with Bruce Pritchard, which I used to listen to all the time, but I haven't in the longest time. But they talk about all the backstage stuff that they cover. Like, they'll take like a pay-per-view and go through it step by step and say, what was this person like to work with, and like what was this, and what was the decision here, and why did they decide to do this and that, and whatever the other thing. So it's pretty good. Cool. Something to, I mean, I'm plugging another podcast on our podcast, but it's a pretty good podcast, man. I mean, it used to be. I don't know if it still is. But.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's who's apparently in charge of SmackDown. But again, it's very painfully clear that still Vince is the top dog.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's calling all the shots. Like, there's stuff in here that only...
Hulk fucking Hogan's back.
Yeah.
He retired.
Yeah, well, he's not
retired.
wrestling, so... All right, season premiere of Raw.
Yeah, okay.
Let's start with the season premiere of Raw.
Yeah, let's start. Let's get this
the
fucking clown show on with.
The
Huh?
first scene, the first segment
The first scene.
on
Let me paint
the
you a
Raw
picture.
season premiere is that night, Rey Mysterio, I don't know how this happened, but Rey Mysterio has a championship match against Seth Rollins for the Universal title at the main event of Monday Night Raw.
Because it's a dream match, Graham.
So he comes out and he starts talking. He's happy to be there. His son Dominic. Remember Dominic?
I'm just happy to be here. That would be my gimmick as a wrestler. Be like, so how you doing, Adam? I'm just happy to be here.
Just here to make friends.
I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Dominic, famous from the Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero winner gets custody of Dominic match from
That's
the,
that kid.
the early 2000s.
All grown up.
Yeah.
That Dominic ladder match meme that I showed you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's grown up into an absolute unit of a child.
He's huge.
wow.
He's like 3 Rey Mysterios.
Yeah. He's there in the front row. Ray's partway through delivering his promo. Unannounced and for seemingly no reason, Brock Lesnar appears, comes out with Paul Heyman, beats the crap out of Ray, unprovoked, decides, why not double down on this? Rips Dominic out of the audience, beats the crap out of Dominic, leaves.
Yeah. But Brock, why are you beating up that child? Which was all weird. Which was, when it happened, it was like, it's a weird thing. Weird. Okay.
Backstage at the end of the show, Paul Heyman is like, look, I didn't want that to happen. And obviously that's terrible. But who you should blame is WWE for inviting Brock here when they knew that he can't be controlled because he's the beast. And it's like, whoa, okay. That's weird abuser mentality, I guess, but all right.
Super weird.
So then SmackDown that week, the first episode of SmackDown on Fox, boy, it looks expensive.
Yeah, Pyro's back. I don't know. Is Pyro back on Raw?
Pyro's back everywhere.
on Raw? Yeah.
The opening titles look really expensive.
They got AC/DC, which
the
fuck
set
AC/DC, but
the set looks expensive. I don't mind it. I don't mind AC/DC.
Really?
Yeah. I have no ill will against AC/DC.
I mean, they're just
We're just feeling very punchy because this is
feel
all
very
terrible.
punchy today.
So what happened just in this storyline? What happened on SmackDown?
Brock Lesnar had announced weeks before that Kofi Kingston was defending his title against Brock Lesnar.
Snore.
On the season premiere of SmackDown on Fox.
Yeah.
And they have their championship match, which lasted a record 7 seconds. Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, right on.
Cool
Fresh
match.
start, man.
Yeah. We still got 10 minutes
This is
left
exactly
in this show.
what anybody watches this fucking show knows that this is exactly what I want to watch when I watch wrestling.
What's going to happen?
What happened? Brock Lesnar showed up and won a match in 6 seconds. Woo! Woo! All right. Yeah. We're all having fun. Everybody. This is what you like, isn't it?
But Adam, that happened like 10 minutes before the end of the show.
Yeah.
So
Brock Lesnar is celebrating and Paul Heyman's doing his thing. And who shows up? Former MMA fighter Cain Velasquez. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So
Rey Mysterio comes out
Yeah.
with Cain Velasquez, who apparently is a very good friend of the family. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. That sounds like BS.
Yeah. But yeah, Cain Velasquez shows up. And so for those of you who are unaware.
Like me, I was like, who's this idiot?
Who's this idiot? Okay, so this idiot is the man that put the boots to Brock Lesnar in an actual MMA match at UFC. He beat Brock Lesnar very badly. I don't know if this is when Brock had diverticulitis or not. I don't think it was. I think it was in the second.
Yeah.
Because Brock lost initially, when he was initially in the UFC, he had diverticulitis, which is like a intestinal virus.
Yeah.
That's very bad.
They're playing up that Cain is the only one who beat Brock in MMA.
Yes.
And not only that, but gave him some sort of facial scar,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, put a big scar like right on, you can see it on Brock's face when you look at him. Yeah, so Cain Velasquez is in the WWE. I just don't care.
They're gonna have a championship match.
Yeah, at the place that shall not be named.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view that shall not be named.
So this is the I guess I'll get into it now. This is the general problem with the WWE product is it feels like nothing happens.
Yes.
Because everything is a build to the next pay-per-view.
Yep.
But then the pay-per-view feels like a build to watch the weekly shows.
Yes.
Because they have to get people to watch the weekly shows because that's where they get their advertising money from USA and Fox.
Yeah.
But they want to get people to watch the pay-per-views because that's where they get their money from the network.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't feel like anything ever gets resolved. It doesn't ever feel like there's a payoff.
Yeah.
It always feels like everything is just like, okay, and building to the next thing. And so right now, all the storylines in WWE are just like set up for what's going to happen at Crown Jewel, the Saudi Arabia show. And then, but we know that's not going to matter. And then it's going to be like, now the things that happen there are going to lead into other stuff, but not satisfactorily. It never feels like there's any logical progression or development. It's all just like it's a series of setups and no spike.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, ball's in the air, and then it goes to the next player who's like, great, keeping it in the air. Just keeping the ball in the air over and over again.
It's definitely felt like maybe that's just me being cynical or like me being, I don't want to be negative because I still enjoy wrestling.
Yeah, I still enjoy wrestling
I still
too.
enjoy wrestling immensely, but what Graham just said, it feels like the product is just spinning its wheels. And it's weird watching a product like even AEW, which definitely is pushing its narrative forward.
Yeah.
And like normal ways, like it's just wrestling, right? It's like it's not difficult to do.
No,
it's not hard to do.
They're not complex storylines.
Yeah, they're not. There never are. And it's just like, I had a train of thought and then I just lost it.
I'm curious about that. Is it because it's a younger product that it feels like we can forgive more of that?
I don't know.
I mean, I think that they've said that they have like a year and a half to 2 years of like storyline ideas in AEW.
Really?
Like sort of sketched out like how narratives will go. And there's the apocryphal story of like they brought in the WWE brought in a writer who had like TV experience in Hollywood, and he was basically laughed out of the room when he asked them if there was a character Bible. Right? To be like, who are these characters? Right? Who are these wrestlers?
Yeah.
Right? What are their characters? And they was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? It's like, is there anything written down about like who Kofi Kingston is?
Yeah.
About what his character is about? And like, no.
Like you couldn't have The Undertaker come on and start cracking jokes.
No, of course not.
No. And
So
that's important to his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are important things about the characters, but no one cares about them. Right? As an example, Kofi Kingston, right? He loses to Brock Lesnar in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the next week on SmackDown, he acts like he never had the championship.
It's awful.
He won the championship at WrestleMania. He held it for, 7 months?
7 months, yeah.
And then the next week, he's just like, sure, I'm back in the New Day flipping pancakes.
I just like...
He's he tried. There's a bit where someone asked him backstage about being the championship, and he's like, "Oh, whatever, everything's great." And in his offhand, he's just crushing pancakes, that is Kofi trying to get character, because we've talked to Xavier Woods about this. That's him trying to get character across when he's not been told that he is allowed to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're just like, okay, cool, Kofi's out of the title picture now. Whoop!
It's just like, that's the thing I hate about WWE. Is like their willingness just to like toss everything out the window for, and I understand that it's a business, and I understand that they need ratings, and they need to, there's a whole mess of things that the people they need to appease that I don't know about because I'm just a viewer, right?
Yeah.
And me watching the stories is so frustrating just to watch them throw away what is essentially 7 months of story in 7 seconds. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I don't know, dude. It's not fun to me. It's just like, it's not enjoyable.
They set up this match between Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar at Crown Jewel, and then everything else since then has just been sort of like hype for that.
Yeah.
Like,
That's essentially it. There's a couple of like,
because that's all on SmackDown now. I haven't seen hide nor hair of that.
yeah, it's all on SmackDown now.
Yeah.
And that's just like how they're pushing it. As far as like other storyline, like that's literally the whole, like that's the main storyline.
But has anything else happened with that? I mean,
No.
Brock
last night,
attacked him again.
last night Brock attacked everybody again. Well, he attacked Dominic again.
Okay.
And he F5 Kane onto Dominic
On a gurney.
stretcher.
Yeah.
And that was essentially it, really.
All right.
And Paul Heyman did that thing where he's like, this is a spoiler. And Brock Lesnar is going to beat Kane. And I guess I think it's for the WWE title, like for the championship. So it's like Kane can't win. Right? And it's like Brock can't lose. It's just like, I don't know. It's going to be like a no DQ. It's going to be some kind of a no contest finish. Ray's probably going to get involved, and then the ref will call it, and then that's pretty much it. Cool. Man.
All right. Here's another storyline that's been happening on Raw.
Yeah.
Before the season premiere, there was a segment backstage with Maria. Do you remember Maria Kanellis? We mentioned this briefly. Mike and Maria Kanellis.
Yeah.
Maria's pregnant, and for whatever reason, creative thinks it's hilarious to emasculate Mike Kanellis. So they have this big backstage painful segment about Maria telling Mike that it's not his baby.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's actually, I don't remember who she points out first.
Ricochet?
It's right. Like, it's actually Ricochet. Mm-hmm. And then Ricochet's like, what? It's not, I mean, I would, but it's not me. And it's like, what the hell, Ricochet? Come on, you're meant to be a decent guy. And then it's like, oh, maybe it's Rusev. I want to make this really clear. It is never explicitly said that it is Rusev, and Rusev never goes, yes, I totally boned down with Maria. I need to make that clear, that was never made explicit.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be funnier if he was like, I never slept with your wife, but yes, it's mine.
It's the miracle of Rusev Day.
Yeah.
And this is when I really started to not be interested in the weekly product, because this was when they do that scene. It's this like Attitude Era, really cheesy soap opera scene of like, this guy's the father, just like making fun of Mike Kanellis. Then it goes back to commentary. Corey Graves calls Mike Kanellis a cuck on commentary on Monday Night Raw
in 2019.
I was just like, good God.
This whole storyline, I'm like, woo, sure dodged a bullet by giving Graham Raw.
Yeah.
I can't fun with that one.
After that, Mike and Maria are not involved in this storyline. They have not appeared on Raw since the season premiere. Now, the storyline is about how Lana is mad at Rusev. So, Rollins can't have that title match against Rey Mysterio because he's in the hospital attending with Dominic. So, who's he going to fight? Well, Rusev. Why not? Have a match against Rusev. In the middle of the match, Bobby Lashley comes out. He hasn't been seen in months. What's Bobby Lashley doing here? Why is he coming out in the middle of this match? He gestures awkwardly to the entrance 3 times because it takes a long time for this to happen. And then Lana comes out. Rusev's wife, Lana, his real actual wife and storyline wife. Mm-hmm. She comes out. And it's like, why is Lana there with Bobby Lashley? And then they start making out. King loses his mind.
Wait a minute, guys. No! Bobby Lashley is kissing Rusev's wife.
Bobby's kissing his wife right in front of him. Ah! Rusev stands in the ring and looks mad.
Wrestling sucks.
The next week.
Oh my God.
The next week, the opening of Raw is a video package just about that. It's like 3 minutes of that with
What
like
kind of,
you know,
beta male lets their wife leave with another man?
you know how yes, it's clear that this is like a big. This is a thing for whoever's writing this, probably Vince. And you have like, you know how when they do video packages, they'll take like commentary and put like filters on it or whatever. So you have like King being like, Bobby's making out with his wife right in front of him. Like it's the worst thing in the world. It's like black and white and high contrast. And like Bobby Lashley and Lana making out at the top of the ramp. And like
This is
Rusev
the worst
and,
parts of wrestling.
Rusev looking all like jolted or whatever. And then
Remember when I said I still liked wrestling? I take it back.
then there's a scene where Bobby Lashley, who can't act, I'm sorry,
None of them can act.
he's like, hey Rusev, you might recognize this bathrobe. That's right, it's your bathrobe. That must mean I'm at your house, which means that this is your bed, which means I'm getting into your bed. Hey, what's up? Oh, and look who's here in your bed with me. This is like
your
word for
wife.
word how this sequence is going.
Look who's in with me in your bed.
And then-
oh, it's your wife.
And then there's like an awkward, like she pretends, or she like takes off her bra but behind the blanket or whatever, and then he's just standing in the ring looking like generally mad. And then there's like a bit where she's getting a massage, and then Lashley comes in and is like, "Hey Rusev, I'm massaging your wife." And then then they're at a restaurant, and she's like, remember this restaurant? This is where I always wanted to come. I said it was a dream for me to come to this restaurant, and you would never take me. And then Rusev's like, oh, then I know where they are. And then he shows up at the restaurant and starts beating the crap out of Bobby Lashley. Everything I've described to you takes 4 weeks.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I gave you this. This is, I mean, I'm like, yeah, see you later, Raw. Woo! Adam's like, woo, going to the weekend. Friday nights.
It just, nothing happens.
Yeah,
it
that
takes
sucks.
so long to do anything.
Man, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's so bad.
That
it's
is
such
so
a bad storyline.
Whose fault is this? Whose man is this?
Vince, probably.
Vince.
It's a
Who let
bad.
Vince out of the closet? That's what I want to know.
It's a bad storyline, badly told.
yeah.
Nobody involved wants to be doing this.
I thought you were going to say that everyone who's been accused of being Maria's kid's father was going to have a match to decide who was the father.
Wouldn't that be funny at
That would
least?
be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, then I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, you got me. The winner is the father. I'd be like, oh no. I just like lay down. I'm like, yeah, you can pin me. Yeah. Just roll over. I'm like, yeah, you can have this one. I don't want to pay the alimony.
God. So
Dude, that's so stupid.
it's so stupid.
Why does wrestling have to be so shitty?
I don't know.
Why does it have to be so shitty?
I love that
Isn't somebody in the room being like, this is dumb?
the whole tipping point for this was that someone suggested that Rusev was Maria's baby daddy, and they're not even part of this story anymore. It's just that Lana is mad at Rusev now. They don't talk about why.
Yeah.
They don't address any of this. Rusev, the fact that he was even went to the restaurant was something, because for the past several weeks he just stood in the ring and looked angry about it. And then King being like, "Oh, I want to go give that guy a hug." And it's like, what the fuck, King?
So,
Calm
like,
down.
okay, so from a character standpoint, Rusev is being maliciously tormented and cheated on by his wife in front of millions of people because he was accused of impregnating Maria.
Yeah,
with no proof.
yeah. And Lashley is, I think he's enjoying.
I'm trying to parse this.
I think he's enjoying himself. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Lashley doesn't good with emotions.
Yeah. That's because Lashley doesn't have any emotions. The man is literally a rock.
Yeah.
And not The Rock.
No.
Who has lots of charisma. He's just a plain ass. Like if a human being was styrofoam. That would be Bobby Lashley.
Oh.
That's Bobby Lashley.
He's got real big traps, though.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He's so, like, we get it. He's big.
Yeah.
He's the alpha. He's so big.
Okay,
Why?
there's so much more on Raw I gotta
Okay,
work
yeah,
through.
we'll keep going.
Okay. So Hell in a Cell happened in the middle of this. And people have been tweeting at us being like,
in the middle of this,
being like, yo, you got to talk about Hell in a Cell. So the Fiend showed up at the end of Clash of Champions, right?
Yeah.
So then the Fiend starts feuding with Seth Rollins. Sorry, the Fiend Bray Wyatt starts feuding with Seth Rollins and creeping Seth Rollins out.
Yeah.
And like cutting promos from the Firefly
Bray's been
Funhouse.
great.
Yeah, Bray's been great.
Yeah.
The road set for Firefly Funhouse sucks. It's a folding table with a tablecloth on it and a blue wall. It doesn't look like a children's set anymore. It is terrible.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah. It's like the catering table.
Yeah. There's a build up to they have a Hell in a Cell match at at Hell in a Cell. This was a divisive match.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. The whole match, by the way, so there was a Hell in a Cell match earlier in the night. Probably the match of the night.
It's awesome.
Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah. No, Becky and Sasha.
Sorry.
Banks is back.
Yeah, Sasha Banks is back. She's a heel. Becky and Sasha had a match at Hell in a Cell in the cell.
She's a heel.
It was great.
Just throw it in there.
It was a stellar match.
Yeah.
This match, the main event, Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins defending the title against The Fiend. It's all under red light,
Yeah.
which is a weird choice. I don't hate it, but it's odd. I'm curious how visible it was for people in the arena. Because it's hard to focus
It's
on
hard
red
enough
light.
to see a cage match anyway in the arena.
Yeah.
And then add in like mood lighting and you're like,
So the match goes on. It's brutal. Seth is beating the tar out of the Fiend, who doesn't seem to care. He just shrugs it off. He's standing in the middle of the ring, taking kendo stick shots, and it's just like shrugging it off.
Yeah.
Eventually, Seth manages to get the upper hand and like gets the Fiend sort of pinned in a ladder and a chair in a way that he's immobile, and then gets a sledgehammer from under the ring. Then the ref starts moralizing with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Being like, what do you think you're doing? This isn't who you are. Are you sure that you want to be the person to do this? And it's like, what? First of all, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
When has a ref ever been like, no, Undertaker, this isn't the kind of man you are.
You can't sacrifice Steve Austin on TV.
Yeah. No, The Rock, you can't use a steel chair. That's not the kind of person you are.
Yeah. That's not
like,
the Rock I know backstage.
So Seth eventually overcomes that and just hits him with the sledgehammer right on the thing, at which point he is disqualified. The Hell in a Cell match ends in a DQ.
Yep. Okay.
People were
Upset.
very mad.
Yeah.
Because that's stupid.
It's dumb.
It's a Hell in a Cell match.
Doesn't make any
It's
sense.
a no DQ match.
Yeah.
Afterwards, the Fiend gets back up like it's not a problem and beats the tar out of Seth. So that's cool, I guess.
So what's
And they have a rematch at Crown Jewel. The stipulation is
cannot be stopped for any reason.
Yeah.
That's the actual stipulation.
Even for a pin?
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, so what? Does it just never stop? Are they fighting forever? Is there some like Greek myth that we can like?
yeah,
It's Sisyphus.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're just fighting forever.
Just roll up back and forth. So that was bad. It was a cool match.
It made
That was
Bray look like a total badass,
yeah,
which was awesome. I think that's what they were going for.
yeah, but ending the ending in a no DQ.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I understand what they were trying to attempt. I think what they were attempting is like, we need to make the Fiend look like this monster that's like unstoppable and will take any amount of punishment.
Yeah.
And whatever. And we need a way to stop it without Bray losing, right? Because they've been building this Fiend. They just they painted themselves into a corner. It's like, you can't. Why make it a Hell in the Cell? Just make it a regular match. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
then you have an easy out. Then I don't think anybody's mad. You know what I mean? But the fact that it's a Hell in a Cell, and it's like a submission match having a rope break. It's like it doesn't make any sense.
I think
dude.
this is way worse because it's
this
it's
is
Hell in
like-
a Cell. It's Satan's structure. It's
Yeah.
the evil, the most grueling. You're not having a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match is really, really stupid.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because the rest of this feud has actually been really good. Very strange that then on the following Raw, Seth says he's gonna find Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
which he does. Somehow gets to the Firefly Funhouse.
Well, he finds a catering table in the back.
I guess, but he like I don't know how he finds the Funhouse dimension, but he ends up there.
Funhouse dimension.
Well,
I like this rich narrative.
The fact that Seth can get to where this is broadcasting from implies that it is just a room backstage, and then it's like the internal logic of like, so is Bray just bringing all this stuff with him?
in canon, isn't that just the way it works, though?
Who's operating these puppets? Like,
Good
it's
point.
Just none of this is. It's all weird. Anyway,
Next question.
Seth shows up and
more
burns the
questions.
Firefly Funhouse down. Still a face. This is meant to make
He got
people...
booed.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, this is meant to make people like Seth, but the mistake is that people love the Firefly Funhouse, and people got mad at Seth for doing this.
Yeah. There was a great...
But, briefly, Bray is now on SmackDown, more on that later, and the Firefly Funhouse is back and looking as cheap as before. So
he had
cool.
because after Seth had burned down the Firefly Funhouse, Bray had a funeral for the rabbit. I can't remember the name of the rabbit.
Ramblin' Rabbit.
And then he had a funeral for the rabbit, but then he resurrected the rabbit.
Biggest pop of the night.
Yeah.
Rambling Rabbit.
Rambling Rabbit came back, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's alive! Yeah, yay!" So yeah,
Rambling Rabbit's like Kenny from South Park. He dies all the time.
yeah, it's good.
Does that mean that they're gonna do like they're gonna be like, oh, people love puppets. We'll have a puppet match.
Sweet.
Welterweight title.
That'd be yes.
No,
That's our
no,
thing.
Yeah, you want to get fucking sued,
That's
Vince?
gimmick infringement.
Yeah.
Also at Hell in a Cell. By the way, that's sort of where that storyline is at. They're now Rollins is on Raw and the Fiend is on SmackDown, but they have a rematch at Crown Jewel.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen? Not that we're not covering Crown Jewel. We're not.
I don't know.
We're not doing it.
I guess
I'm not even gonna watch it.
I guess Rollins has to retain. I assume because like,
I hope they just. What if they
is
just
Cain
like?
Velasquez on Raw? Are they going to swap titles?
No, I think Kane's on SmackDown.
Okay. Well then, they have to keep the title on Raw, so I guess Rollins is retaining.
But the
or are
match
they going
cannot
to do
be
the
stopped
thing
for
where
any reason.
Or are they going to do the thing where Bray wins, and so then Bray is on Raw because he's the champion?
What if they do the thing where Bray wins, but then decides that he doesn't need titles? They'll vacate. Oh, this is my call. This is my call.
Okay.
Bray wins at
Okay.
Crown Jewel. Bray decides. Bray, the character, the Firefly Funhouse Bray, says, "I don't need this title," and vacates it, and then they'll have some stupid tournament for it. I guarantee. I will put a paycheck on this.
Okay.
That's my guess.
All right.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks.
Also on Hell in a Cell, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Which sounds super racist.
It apparently was their choice.
Yeah. But it just sounds, knowing the WWE and how they handle things, I'm like, every time I hear that name, I'm like, oh God, please don't. Just like, stop. You're gonna do something that makes me uncomfortable.
So they're heels in that match at Hell in a Cell for no reason.
Yeah.
It had not been established,
Well, it's
but
because they're foreigners.
I guess. But it's like Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Are they not heels? No, I guess not. So anyway, they win. Asuka and Kairi Sane are the tag champs on the back of the Green Mist.
Oh yeah, the green mist is back. Yeah,
Which is a thing that Japanese wrestlers have used for a while, where they spit a puff of green mist in your face,
foreigners.
and you're like, There's actually
Foreigners
different
love to
colors.
cheat.
There's different colors of mist.
Yeah.
And
the black mist is the most dangerous.
different strengths.
Yeah. So what is the mist rankings? Mist is like black is the strongest, then it's like red, green.
I think I don't actually know.
I think it's black, red, green.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Beach looking
He's
it up.
looking at it. I can hear him furiously typing.
They had a also then Charlotte became SmackDown champion again.
Yeah.
And so then Charlotte and Becky they were on Miz TV on Raw. Becky was like, I just can't get rid of Charlotte. I just can't get rid of her. Why can't I get rid of Charlotte? I love that she says what we're all thinking. Becky's been great through this whole thing, even though she's had nothing to work with.
Yeah.
Then the Kabuki Warriors come out and they had a match. I mentioned this because they had a great promo where they just spoke Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
And
that
it was
great.
not translated. And Asuka was speaking very aggressive, informal Japanese, and Kairi Sane was speaking very polite Japanese sarcastically, which was I had this explained to me by somebody else. It was very entertaining.
I found it.
Oh yeah, Beach, what is it?
Okay.
Was that right?
Green is the most common.
Yeah.
Obstructs the opponent's vision.
Yeah.
Red is quite often used, said to burn the eyes.
Yeah.
Black is said to blind the opponent for several weeks.
Yeah.
Blue sends the opponent to sleep. Yellow paralyzes the opponent.
Oh.
Purple causes momentary distraction and memory loss.
Memory loss.
Oh. Wait, who am I?
Yeah.
I got pinned. All right.
I'm gonna hit somebody with that when they're like, "Hey man, you got that $5 you owe me?" Pearl miss, psst. And they're like, "Ah, no, no, you don't owe me $5." What $5?
Also with Raw. Oh, actually, Hell in a Cell. There's a funny bit with the 24/7 Championship, which is now just the R-Truth title. I kind of wish that it would go to more other people that weren't R-Truth.
Didn't Drake win it? Drake,
But it
Maverick
keeps
just
coming back to
recently- yeah.
R-Truth. There was though they had a bit with him and Funaki at Hell in a Cell, which was great. I
Yeah.
just like Funaki. On Raw, Natalya and Lacey Evans were feuding for weeks.
Yeah.
They had a last woman standing match on Raw.
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. It's honestly been a good feud.
Yeah.
Then Natalya had a match against the Kabuki Warriors and had to pick a partner, and she was like, I knew I had to pick someone who I knew would bring it, and someone who's tested me the most. I've picked Lacey Evans as my partner, and it's like, that's just
Why?
it's so stupid. It's you, or maybe what about someone you could trust? You got the whole roster back there. What about that? What about someone who's not? That doesn't make sense.
Wrestling's stupid.
Yep. There's been random promos for the Authors of Pain, who are just reminding you that they exist.
Yeah.
And talking.
They're still alive.
I don't know why they still do promos like this, because things get established in these promos that are never referenced again later. And it's just like, remember when Mojo Rawley was doing all those promos, talking
In the mirror?
talking to a mirror, and he had stuff all over his face? Where's Mojo Rawley these days? Nowhere.
Nowhere. On a milk carton?
Yeah.
He's gone, man.
The Street Profits kept showing up on Raw just to talk because they're great at talking, but it's weird because they were NXT. They were actually competing on NXT like during this period of time, but they just kept showing up on Raw and saying stuff. Then they did eventually get drafted to Raw as like they're now feuding with the club as like, because the Street Profits are the unofficial hosts of Monday Night Raw. And the club are like,
what does that mean?
it means they talk a lot.
But what does it mean?
And then
Yeah.
SmackDown, not to be outdone with its main event scene being with a part-time non-wrestler, the big thing happening on Raw is that Braun Strowman is in a feud with Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
the undefeated lineal heavyweight boxing champion.
I don't understand boxing titles
Me
because
neither.
there's so many of them. But I know who Tyson Fury was before.
I didn't.
Okay.
I was like, who is this man and why should
He's
I
very
care?
good. He's a very good boxer. He's good at punching people. And
that's
he's
good.
also like a very big showman, like kind of like a showman in the vein of like a Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
He's like very good at what he does. Like he's like undefeated and yeah.
I mean, he's
he gets
enormous.
wrestling,
and
yeah.
so anyway, they spent weeks building up that they're going to have a match at Crown Jewel as well, him and Strowman.
Yeah. Strowman says people are going to get these hands, and Tyson Fury is a boxer. You get it?
Yeah. And then Team Ric Flair and Team Hulk Hogan are having a match at Crown Jewel. It's like a Survivor Series match, but Hogan and Flair aren't actually wrestling, but they picked like their team, and it's like Rollins is the captain of Hogan and Randy Orton's the captain of Team
Reigns
Flair.
is the captain
Then,
of Hogan.
well, now it's Reigns. It was Rollins originally,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
then it was Reigns, and they're having a big match. And
Right.
Ric Flair's promo work is Ric Flair's getting old a bit. Like he it was kind of funny. He's like, look, this was on Miz TV. He's like, Miz, I think you're great, and he points to Hogan, but I've had to listen to that music for 30 years, and I am sick of it. Because they're trying to play up that they don't like each other, and Miz is like, well, you know, we've all had to listen to the woos for even longer, and Flair's like, huh? What? Your woo, we've had to listen to them for even longer, but you know, we've loved it. So anyway, the point is, God, Miz is a treasure.
Yeah. We don't deserve the Miz.
No. So yeah, they're having that match. That's Raw. That's everything that's been happening.
Okay. SmackDown. I've watched every episode of SmackDown since like the reboot, and it doesn't feel like I've watched anything at all. Really? I mean,
Everything's just build for Crown Jewel.
yeah.
Nothing happens. That's why I said that's everything that's happened.
There's a
weeks
couple
of Raw,
storylines
and that's it.
that I want to talk about.
Please.
First of all, time for me to get fucking upset. Chad Gable.
Oh,
Chad Gable.
is that his name?
Yes. They've changed his name
Twice.
First,
Here is your winner by submission, Shorty Gable.
it was Shorty Gable was the first name.
Uh-huh.
And he came out and they were like, yep, because he's so tiny. He's just he's a little man. So we'll call him Shorty Gable. So Chad Gable, I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't even know. I can't even remember what the catalyst was for them calling him Shorty Gable.
He's 5'8".
He's 5 foot. Oh, it was Baron Corbin. It was
Right.
the feud with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's king of the ring, by the way. Actually, if the one bright spot in the WWE has been, one of the bright spots of WWE has been Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
The last few months. He's been great.
And we've always been high on Baron Corbin, but it
Yeah.
is kind of wild to say that he's been one of the bright spots in WWE.
He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been good. So they
I just wish that they would have. I was glad they brought King of the Ring back.
Mm-hmm.
You can just have it be Baron Corbin who won King of the Ring. You don't have to be King Corbin walking around with a crown and scepter and cape. You can
I probably would.
anyway.
Better hope we don't have a king of the ring here.
Fair. All right, carry on.
So during that feud, because Gable and Corbin were the finalists in the King of the Ring, and Gable lost. And then in the build-up, and I think even after I think it was after the feud, Corbin said that Gable couldn't win because he was so short.
Corbin has literally a foot on Gable.
Yeah, on Gable. So then they started referring to him on commentary as Shorty Gable.
Then they changed his
And then
entrance to say Shorty Gable.
And then they change, and then on the what's the word of the graphic?
The Chiron.
The pardon?
The Chiron.
The Chiron? Okay,
Yeah.
so on the Chiron, when they enter, when they're walking down the ramp, Shorty Gable right there, and clear as purple crayon.
Yeah. And they're like, but that's too complicated.
That's way too complicated for our fucking idiot viewers. So how can we make this simpler for our moronic audience?
I'm Shorty G.
Shorty G. Yeah, he's like, Chad Gable had this big promo where he stood in the middle of the ring. He's like, I'm going to own up. I'm comfortable with who I am. And who I am is Shorty G.
The best part about this was the theory I saw that the existence of a Shorty G and a big E implies the existence of a medium F.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, where is medium F?
He's billed as 5'8". Do they
That's not
announce
even
that?
small.
Yeah, but do they announce that when he goes to the ring every time?
Yeah.
Holy crap! Wow.
Yeah. And Corbin is 6'8", so he does have a literal foot on
He does have a foot on him, but 5'8's not even that small.
I bet it looks great when
He's an Olympian.
I bet it looks great when he uses the deep six on him.
Yeah, but he's an Olympian.
I know.
Also, last night on SmackDown, Shorty G was wearing he looked like he was tried out for the fucking Toon Squad or like a Monstar. He's wearing basketball short. You'll see it. It's gonna be right here.
Oh no.
He was dressed like an extra from Space Jam, and it was awful.
Wow. Okay.
But he keeps going off about how he's comfortable with who he is, and that's why he's Shorty G now.
All right.
So I mean, good on you. It's all about empowerment and everything else.
Sure.
Name
is
the
terrible.
only other thing. The name sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get through the rest of SmackDown.
Yeah. So the only other thing that was really been going on is Daniel Bryan's a babyface again
Yep.
because Eric Rowan was
The worst told story in SmackDown lately.
the worst told story in wrestling.
Yeah. Was that remember we talked about this?
Yeah.
The shelving or the rigging or whatever that fell over on Roman Reigns. You remember that beach, right?
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
He got attacked backstage, and they're like, "Who is it?" And they're like, "It was Eric Rowan."
Oh,
and he's
right,
like, "No,
yeah.
it's not." Turns out, yeah, it was Eric
It's just
Rowan.
Eric Rowan, yeah.
And Daniel Bryan was like, "What? Now I'm mad at you, Eric Rowan. Why did you do that?" And Rowan was like, "Reasons."
Yeah.
And then Luke Harper came back.
Yay, Luke Harper.
Yay. And then they had a match at Hell in a Cell. It was Bryan and Reigns versus Harper and Rowan.
Yeah.
And Bryan and Reigns won, and then they hugged.
Yeah.
And
then
now Bryan's a face again.
And then last night on SmackDown, Michael Cole was going off about how he was going to ask Daniel Bryan the hard-hitting questions like, is the yes movement back? And then they had Daniel Bryan in the middle of the ring, and they're like, "Is the Yes Movement back?" And then Daniel Bryan didn't say anything. And then Sami Zayn came out, who has been a bright spot as well on SmackDown. Sami Zayn has been relegated to mouthpiece for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Very strange.
Very strange, but it's been very good.
Yeah.
And there was this great in-ring segment with Sami and Daniel Bryan, who Daniel Bryan didn't say anything, but Sami Zayn was like, I mean, like the old, when you became the new Daniel Bryan, that was the real Daniel Bryan. And you care about the environment and the like acidification of the ocean and like all this, like you care about recycling and drive a Prius and everything else.
Yeah.
And that's what we care about too. So you should hang out with us. And then Daniel Bryan didn't say anything and he just left. So we got no answers. But that was a good promo.
What's very strange to me is that they had Harper and Rowan teaming up.
Yeah.
And commentary kept saying that they had history working together.
Yeah.
But they never mentioned the Bludgeon Brothers or that they were tag champs.
Yeah.
It's very strange that this window of history that they just pretended didn't happen on commentary.
Oh.
And now they're on different brands.
Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yes, that happened.
Bayley is a heel.
Yeah.
Bayley destroyed her little, because when Bayley did like her little entrances.
Yeah.
She's teamed up with Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And Sasha Banks is a heel.
Yeah.
And now Bayley is a heel.
She has an I want to speak to the manager haircut.
Yes.
And she took a fucking axe to the Bayley buddies.
Yeah. It was
She
cool.
just started slicing them apart.
Yeah. And she got new entrance music.
The Sky Dancers, yeah.
Yeah. She has a new haircut, new entrance music. She's a heel. Mm-hmm. She is defending against Charlotte at Crown Jewel. And her heel turn is very by the numbers, like, I'm just looking out for number one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's wholly uninteresting, but it's like, it's, at least she's a heel, I guess. But
the clip of her cutting down the Bayley buddies was entertaining.
Was great. But it's just like,
is there anything else on SmackDown?
No. I think that's it.
Like, yeah, Kofi's back with the New Day. Xavier Woods is injured, which sucks.
Yeah. The New Day, they're doing like a big tag team thing at Crown Jewel, which is what they've been building to.
So there was also right after this like soft reset.
Yes.
Right afterwards was another different other reset because we complained about the stupid wild card rule, and they had another draft. Yeah. They had the Raw and SmackDown draft.
Oh, fuck, they had the draft.
Yeah, and they played it up, and it's like USA is drafting for Raw, and
there was
Fox,
a robot in one of the meeting rooms.
Yeah, the Fox football robot.
RoboCop was in there.
Yeah. They showed like the war rooms because they're trying to play this up like a draft, right? They have like the USA war room and the Fox war room, and it was terrible.
It's awful.
Everything about the draft was mishandled to suck all the hype out of the room.
Yep.
It was just they would come out and be like, this person has been drafted to Raw. This person has been drafted to SmackDown. None of it means anything. They had the visual of like, you'd have like, so-and-so's been drafted to Raw, and then cut to like the USA War Room, and they're like, they look really excited about it. And it's like, but like, they used it in the lead up as like, so-and-so wants to put on a good show in their match tonight because the draft is coming up.
Yes. Which they usually do.
Yeah,
right?
but it's like, why?
Yeah.
You're gonna be on Raw or SmackDown.
It was like when we were talking about this, and they're like,
you won't not get drafted.
They drafted Drew McIntyre like super high, but like, why?
Yeah, why? Why would
He
you
never
like
wins.
in storyline? Drew McIntyre should not be a 5th pick.
Yeah.
Right? And they had it with like, you can on SmackDown only some people can be drafted, and then only some people can be drafted on Raw. Also, you can draft a tag team as a team or individual if you want. Why would you ever draft individually? You get 2 people for 1 pick. So you had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross getting split up and then put back together on Raw and then shipped back to SmackDown again.
Yeah.
And you had like why did Rowan and Harper get split up? Why not just take Harper? Even if you only care about Rowan, you get another whole dude.
Yeah.
Everything about this draft was just mishandled for like, they've done it better, show reactions of the people. All it was like Steph comes out and goes, Raw picks this person, it shows a picture of them. SmackDown picks this person, it shows a picture of them. Thanks.
It seems a little to me like 2 captains on the dodgeball playground, being like, I pick this guy, I pick this guy, I pick this guy.
Yeah, but it wasn't even played up
I choose
with
Wade
that
Boggs.
sort of like
Pomp.
yeah, it was all that's happened is that it's like Becky was the number one pick. So the only fallout from the draft is like now the rosters are separate, sort of, and it's like they refer to Becky as the number one pick, which is great. But it's like when people got drafted, why they got drafted, the results of being drafted, none of it matters.
Yeah.
There's no the draft episodes were just a chore. They were not interesting. There was no consequence. And there's no reason for there to be consequence, right? Like, I don't want them to start talking about like salary caps or something, but like they should have general manager characters. They should have reasons that they care. They should actually be fighting over these picks. Yeah. And it was just like, well, we get this person, you get that person, we get this person, you get that person. The wrestlers are not going to, no one's going to not get drafted.
Has there ever been a storyline where a wrestler's been like, I didn't want to get drafted to Raw?
Yes, in the past, but not this.
Not this time.
Yeah, there was like famously Undertaker got like real mad and kicked a door down because he got drafted to Raw from SmackDown or vice versa. And it was like a thing, you know, and like JR got drafted like while on commentary and didn't know it was going to happen because let's just make fun of JR, you know. But this was just like, okay. And like once they did, Heath Slater didn't get drafted, and it became that he was a free agent thing, and he kept showing up on both shows. It was like a whole thing, and he was like, "Please sign me to this show."
I have kids. I need a job.
Because you'd assume that if you had a draft and you had like a number one pick, it'd be like the number one pick has certain benefits.
Yeah.
In that they get to choose, their own match, choose when they want to have a title defense or some stuff like that.
It was pointless.
Oh!
None of it mattered. Oh, also they also spoiled it because they were like they released. Here's all the on the website. They're like, here's all the people that are eligible to be drafted, which is the entire roster, and they listed it in the order that they were drafted. Because obviously what had happened is that someone in creative had gone to the web team and was like, here's the list. Make sure you randomize this, and it hadn't happened.
Yeah, they're like, yep. Control C, Control V.
Yeah.
We're all done here, boys.
So there was some change up. Some people from NXT went to the main roster, but that's about it.
Couple more quick things.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens has been non-existent. I think he got injured, but he eliminated Shane McMahon from canon. Shane McMahon has been fired.
Yeah. Kevin Owens showed up on Raw.
Right. Kevin Owens got drafted to Raw. That's why.
Yeah, he showed up on Raw this week in helping out the Street Profits in a 3v. Well, it was a 2v3, but he made it a 3v3
against the OC.
Tag match against the OC in the main event.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Also, the women's tag team championships are moving to NXT. The Cruiserweight Championship has moved to NXT.
Wait, the women's tag match is only NXT now?
Yeah. The championships are moving to NXT.
The women's tag champs?
Yes.
Weird. So they're not on Raw or SmackDown anymore. I thought they were just could be defended on any brand.
No, they're just moving to NXT.
That's wild.
Yeah. Finn Balor has moved. Well, I mean, this is a good time to talk about NXT because
NXT, here's the thing. It's been good, but it's like not been great.
Yeah.
Because here's my problem with NXT is that's Raw and SmackDown. That's misery. Everything is better than Raw and SmackDown. Everything else we're going to talk about today. Yeah. NXT on USA has been the in-ring work and the in-ring storytelling, the way that people act during their matches has been so good.
Yeah.
And there's been like no promos. There's no character work.
That got better this week.
It got better just this past week, but it's just been like bang, 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 match, 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 match. And the commentators being like, well, this is this guy and he thinks this, and versus this guy and he's this sort of person. Let's see how that works out. Which is fine, but like you don't even get people cutting promos in the ring. There's an occasional video package, but there's nothing backstage. It's just match, 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 match. And the matches are good. So I'm not complaining about that, but there's so much less character work than there used to be on NXT. It's just like, okay, but why not let them tell me? Can I see what this character is like rather than just commentary, which is great. It's
telling us. Yeah.
Mauro Ranallo, Nigel McGuinness, and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just being like, well, this person thinks this and this person thinks that, so let's watch how that works out. That's not been amazing. But yeah, Finn Balor came back on the premiere, the actual premiere episode, not their weird tester premieres. Finn Balor came back and was like, "Yep, I'm officially back in NXT now."
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, cool!" And then they had. So right now, the main storyline is that Undisputed Era holds all the titles,
which is awesome.
So Adam Cole is the NXT champion. Roderick Strong is the North American champion, which is the mid-card title in NXT. And Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are the tag champs. So that's all 4 members of Undisputed Era. They have all the championships. And then they had this face down with a Tommaso Ciampa's back. And he came out and faced them down in the ring. And they're like, well, this is the 4 of us and 1 of you. And then Johnny Gargano came out and he talked to Ciampa for a little bit. And they're like, all right, let's fight on the same side again. This is all wordless. You don't hear any of this dialogue. So Ciampa and Gargano start facing down with them. And they're like, well, okay, that's 2 of you. There's still 4 of us. Then Finn Balor comes out. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay, now it's 3 on 4. But, you know, we got Balor over there. And this was very smooth. Balor starts to take his coat off, takes a step forward, and just does this like backflipping bicycle kick and knocks Johnny Gargano out. And then the other 4 members of Undisputed Era jump Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
So heel turn for Finn Balor. The first time actually that he's been a heel in WWE.
Yes.
He had a conversation sit down on the Fox Backstage Pass show with Booker T and Renee Young. And he's like, well, Booker, you've been a fan of my work before WWE, right? The Prince is back.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, because he was Prince Devitt.
Yeah.
In New Japan.
On the indie scene.
Yeah, in New Japan specifically, Fergal Devitt. I think Fergal's his real name.
Yeah.
Fergal. It's so weird.
Finn's a good choice.
Yeah, Finn's a great choice because you can't really market Fergal. But he was Prince Devitt in New Japan, and he's actually the originator of the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
He was the person that started that whole thing.
It's really noticeable on NXT how small the Full Sail studio is.
Yeah.
There is not many people in there.
Yeah.
It is a very, very, very small room.
Yeah, I think NXT would benefit more from like a traveling show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, they got to.
That's just how they're producing.
I think there was
it,
in that same clip, the backstage show, the WWE backstage is what Finn was on.
Yeah.
They were like, well, why are you going back to NXT? And he's like, I'm tired of people always saying, well, why are you going back? Why is it? It's like a downgrade.
Oh, this was an amazing analogy that he made.
He's like,
Raw and SmackDown is Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's bright and there's glitz and there's glamour and there's pyro and it's easy.
It's the Avengers.
Yeah, he said it's the Avengers. It's easy to step into the background and get sort of lost under all of that.
Yeah.
Whereas NXT is like Broadway. And you are right there with the audience, and you have to sell it to the cheap seats.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a great analogy.
Yeah.
Truly.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, so NXT, like the commentary has been good. The in-ring, not just the in-ring performance, like the athleticism has been amazing, but the in-ring storytelling. They actually get to have interesting matches. Because on top of all the storyline stuff we're talking about, the actual matches on the main roster are largely dull.
Yeah,
they're very rote. Yeah. Whereas in NXT, you have some just bangers of like just people using ring
I've been
psychology.
super impressed with Matt Riddle. I think Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think I would really like that character.
It makes me uncomfortable that he doesn't wear shoes. I'm always like, oh no, you're gonna get your
Somebody's gonna
you're
step
gonna
on your
hurt
toes.
your toes.
Yeah, I was gonna stub a toe, Matt Riddle.
No, why?
Yeah. But I didn't think I would like that character, like the bro character, but I like it, man. I think he's fun.
I like him a lot.
He's also just very good.
Yeah. Yeah. My only like complaint about NXT is that there's not enough character opportunity for like promos and getting to know the characters rather than just being told about them.
Yeah.
And it feels too much that it's just like bang, 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 bang matches.
Yeah.
But the matches are great.
Yeah.
You know. Speaking of great matches though, let's talk about AEW.
Hey, yeah.
All Elite Wrestling.
Yep.
Wednesday nights, AEW Dynamite on TNT. With Excalibur, JR Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone on commentary.
Yep.
Holy moly, what a commentary team.
I have been like super impressed by Excalibur.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. I had listened to him like in clips because he did PWG, which is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Yeah.
He did the commentary for them and he did a couple other indie things, but I'd never really like sat down and listened to a whole show from top to bottom. I think he's great. I think the team's great.
The team is great. Tony Schiavone is just like a guy who loves wrestling. He even tweeted the other day, he's like, by God, I love wrestling again. You know, there's a bit where like someone did a Vader bomb and Excalibur called it a Vader bomb. And Tony Schiavone was like, they call that a Vader bomb now? That's so great.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And it's just, man. So AEW, the first match is Cody versus Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Who's Sammy Guevara? I don't know. They play this video package, right? Where it's like Cody has a title match at the pay-per-view at Full Gear. So who's this guy? You know, Sammy Guevara is worried that Cody is going to overlook him, that he's just going to be like, whatever, this match doesn't matter because I have a title shot coming up. And Cody's like, I got to make sure that I don't do that. I have to make sure that I don't overlook this kid, right? Because, like, yeah, I have a title match coming up, but this is still a match. And Sammy's a good competitor. And I'm like, okay, cool. From that video package, you cannot tell who you're supposed to be rooting for. You can't tell who's the good guy and who's the bad guy in this match from the promo. It's just like, they're just two guys. Then the match starts, and you can definitely tell who the bad guy is because Sammy Guevara wrestles like an asshole.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Just in microcosm, the first match of the first episode of AEW Dynamite already has me hooked about how they are presenting the wrestlers and how they're telling stories in and out of the ring.
I like how wins and losses are important. They talk about characters' records. Like,
so they have a lot of interest in pushing wins and losses.
Yeah.
They track them on the website. You can see them beside their name on the Chiron when they enter, like single wins and tag team wins.
Yeah.
They also use time limits, and they use it interestingly because they don't abuse it, but it's like this match is set for one fall and has a 10-minute time limit. And generally that doesn't matter. Generally time limits don't come up.
Yeah.
You know, but you do occasionally get the announcer, you hear this, like someone being like 2 minutes remaining, and it's like, oh, something's got to happen soon, sort of thing. You know, it's a different, interesting way that they use to add tension.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course there's the ever popular, for the main event, this match is set for one fall using TV time remaining.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah, Tony Schiavone's like, oh, I love TV time remaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so, okay, AEW, Cody and Jericho are feuding. Jericho is the champ.
Yes.
He's the AEW champion. He's being a real bastard. And he's formed the Inner Circle.
Yeah. Which is like his
is
heel
what they call
stable.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone actually...
But who's back, Graham?
Oh, so many people are back. The first episode of AEW ended with this big scuffle with Cody and Dustin Rhodes and the Young Bucks versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara and what are their names?
Santino and something.
Yeah,
Cruz and
them fighting, and then out of nowhere, Jake Hagar, aka Jack Swagger, from WWE.
Yeah.
People started chanting "We the People." We the people, and Jericho's like, "We the people" is done. Creative, that was the creative department responsible for that is not here.
Yeah.
We the people.
That
is
thing
done.
sucked.
Yeah.
Move on with your lives. Yeah. Basically, like, damn. Okay.
Yeah. It was great. Someone tweeted at us and they were like, why, from a storyline perspective, why would all these people want to align themselves? Like, why would Jericho, the champ, want to align himself with a stable of people who would be gunning for his title, right? And it's like, oh, I can answer that easily, because he's a coward.
Yeah.
The character is a scared coward. He's an arrogant blowhard who cannot back himself up. Yeah. So he has to surround himself with support, which was very clear on the most recent episode, where he's like, he and the rest of the Inner Circle are up in a skybox on mic, and he's like, Cody, it's you and Dustin. There's 4 of us up here. There's 2 of you. This is 4v2. Nah. And then MJF, Michael J. Friedman, MJF,
Maxwell. No, I think it's Maxwell. I think I'm Michael J. Fox.
This is the guy.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox.
It is indeed Maxwell.
Thank
Maxwell,
you. This
yeah.
is the guy who tweeted the shot of him in the gym saying, "I don't play Dungeons and Dragons."
Brilliant.
Which just people got real mad at.
Yeah.
Which was a character
work,
thing.
bro.
He was feuding with a guy who has D20s in his branding.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole thing was that he's an asshole jock feuding with a nerd. So that worked out very well for MJF.
Yeah.
But so then he comes out and he's like, because he's friends with Cody. This is the thing. If I have to contrast it, WWE has this thing where all heels get along and hate all faces, and all faces hate all heels.
Yeah.
And AEW is not like that. MJF is a heel.
Yeah.
He is not a good guy.
Yes.
But he's friends with Cody.
Yes.
And he's going to help Cody fight these other heels because he also doesn't like them.
Yeah.
And that works, right? It's like, Cody, your friend's a dick. And he's like, yeah, but he's my friend.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, yeah. Well,
Like, oh, you mean like happens in real life?
yeah. It's like, well, he's not that bad. Like, look. I get it. Like, he's not that bad. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so then Jericho's like, well, okay, so there's 4 of us and 3 of you. Now what? And then DDP.
Yeah, baby.
Diamond Dallas Page comes out. And so they start feuding all over the arena. It was great. They start once there's 4-on-4, then Jericho's like, "Oh no!" and like runs away, hides in the skybox, closes the door. There's a big glass window in the thing. Cody puts his hand out. MJF hands him his scarf, which, by the way, Jericho was like, "Why would I be afraid of somebody with a scarf? Who would wear a scarf?" Recalling that the scarf was a big thing in Jericho's character in WWE. Cody puts his hand out. MJF gives him the scarf. Cody wraps his hand in MJF's scarf and just punches right through the window.
Yeah.
And then they just start feuding in the concourse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, okay. That's sort of the title picture is it's Jericho and his squad versus Cody.
Yeah.
Also, they have not yet crowned AEW Tag Team Champs. There's a big tournament for that. Go watch from the 2nd episode of Dynamite. Go watch the Young Bucks versus Private Party.
That was one of the best matches I've ever seen in my entire life.
Holy crap! What a
that
match!
was awesome.
An just amazing tag match. Both teams were astounding. I won't even tell you who won. Both teams were amazing.
Yeah.
The women's title, Riho is the AEW Women's Champ. She is a tiny person. She's like 98 pounds or something.
Yeah,
She's so small. But everyone loves her, and she's ruthless.
The other underlying like storyline thread at AEW is been Jon Moxley, i.e.
Dean Ambrose.
Also known as Dean Ambrose.
Yep.
Feuding with Pac, who is Neville.
Yeah.
In
The bastard Pac.
Yeah. I love how they call
him
him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been very good. They don't get along, and it's just 2 dudes who fight each other, basically. Like
They had Pac on commentary when Moxley was fighting. Was it Kenny Omega?
yeah, I think he's fighting Kenny Omega.
Yeah, and Pac was on commentary, and it was just really upset to be there.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why am I here? Why am I here telling you what why am I not fighting? I hate this."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, well, sorry. I guess like thanks for joining us on commentary. I suppose. Yeah, whatever. Shut up. Leave me alone.
It's been good.
Don't ever talk to me."
It's so different from WWE.
Yeah.
Right?
The production is not as smooth. It is not as pristine. Not everything is planned out to the perfect detail. Not every camera angle is exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And it feels so much more real.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's
fun.
I was really trying to go in objectively because like WWE I've watched WWE for years and it's been not great for a little while, and I didn't want to just be like, yeah, of course AEW is going to be great because like I have no loyalty and I don't want to be a fanboy, and I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to think that AEW was going to be bad, but I also didn't want to be like, WWE sucks, so obviously AEW is going to be great.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be as objective as possible, and AEW just is really good. The in-ring stuff, the storylines, they use the in-ring matches to further the storylines, to further the characters, and it's just so much better.
Yeah.
And you should really, really check it out, and we'll definitely talk about it more when we'll definitely talk more about AEW going forward, and particularly with Full Gear coming up.
Yep. So I think like as far as this show going forward, we are going to try and do a more of like a bi-weekly kind of thing.
That's the hope, yeah.
That's the hope.
And not tie it to specific WWE pay-per-views so that we can give you ongoing updates about sort of how the storylines are progressing and what's being told.
Or just to talk about stuff in general,
Yeah.
just rather than making it less about like, oh, here's this big thing that we have to get through, and it's going to be like, it's more just this and us talking about wrestling, right? Like more freeform, more casual, and just like less like regimented and like, this is okay, well, this is the match, and then what happened in this match? Because we've always been like, Graham and I have always been less about like match. We've never been good about the match by like the move by move breakdowns of a match, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll just talk about general stuff, and we've always been better about like, okay, well, what's this storyline heading into whatever, or how did this pay off, or how do you feel about this, or like, it's not like, oh, that was a great moss covered 3-handled family Gradunzel. Or
I feel like we didn't give, just because we don't have the time to, though we're not done yet. This episode's not over yet, but I feel like we didn't give enough time to the AEW storylines. But stuff happens week to week. Characters do things progress, like stories happen, and it feels much more immediate than Raw or SmackDown, where just things plod on week to week, you know? Like,
and I don't know if that's just like
an example. That's like I said, the first episode of Dynamite, they know what the title match is going to be at the next pay-per-view at Full Gear, but it's not just like, okay, that's happening, so now we do 3 weeks of Cody and Jericho, like harass each other. They interact, obviously, we just described that, but it's they have other stuff. They have things to do. They have other interactions with other people. They have other matches with other people.
Yeah. Like Chris Jericho had defended his title against, what's his name? Darby Allin.
Yeah, that was an amazing match.
Yeah, that was good. There was a cool like bit where Chris Jericho tied up Darby Allin during the match, and like Darby wrestled with his hands behind his back and like did suicide dives and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
the Darby Allin versus the number one contender match that was brutal.
Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc was terrific too. Yeah. Jimmy Havoc's the character has problems.
Yeah.
I mean, the wrestler may also, but the character definitely has problems.
Yeah.
And then one final thing that we wanted to talk about that I didn't expect to want to talk about.
Okay.
But it's been captivating is NWA Power. Yeah. I was like, oh, really? In the midst of all of this, and the Raw and SmackDown and NXT and AEW, also NWA is coming back. What? What do you mean they're coming back? NWA.
Yeah.
The return of studio wrestling.
Yeah. What
is studio wrestling? Well, you see this when you see like old clips of like Ric Flair or like King and Memphis wrestling, and like really, really old clips of wrestlers from the territory era, from before WWF consolidated everything.
Yeah.
And it's wrestling in a TV studio. And they have a ring, they have some bleachers with like not a huge number of people, the commentary desk and an interview area all right beside each other in the same small room. And so you'll have people, they'll do an interview and then they'll be like, great, let's have that match now. And they'll walk right over to the ring, you know? There's no like entrance music. They just have these little things of like, now it's this match with text on screen. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is. It's taped at Georgia TV studios.
Yeah.
And they're an hour long. They premiere on YouTube, and then they're viewable on YouTube. You can go watch this. Each episode's only an hour. They're like 3 or 4 episodes in now.
Yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah.
They're really entertaining. I watched the first one. I was like, all right, sure. So first of all, the graphics and everything are like intentionally retro.
Yeah.
Right? This is like, do you remember when WWE did that like Southpaw regional wrestling thing?
Yeah.
It's
unironically it's like that.
It's that, but it's that for serious, but it doesn't necessarily take itself seriously.
Yes.
Right? And it's lots of fun. Yeah. So the champion, Nick Aldis.
It's goofy.
It's goofy, yeah. The champion is Nick Aldis. He has his the championship belt, the NWA belt, which they call the 10 pounds of gold.
Yes.
And the first episode has him defending it against Tim Storm, who is 53. Mm-hmm. And between the video package and then promo that Tim Storm cut before the match, I was captivated. I was like, I'm so invested now.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was like, I'd heard of Nick Aldis, I think, never seen him wrestle, never heard of Tim Storm. And
Nick Aldis wrestled Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
at All In. Was it All In or one of the and because that's when Cody won the NWA title. And then Nick Aldis won it back, obviously.
Yeah.
Like at another event.
But I was just like, I don't know who these people are, and I am so invested in the outcome of this match now.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like it moves briskly, right? Because there's no entrances. It's just like, here's a match, here's why this is important. Go bang, 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 go, go, go. And they're only an hour. It's really digestible, and it's just super fun.
Yeah.
Nick Aldis was once known as Magnus.
Yeah. Magnus and TNA.
Oh, okay.
Teamed up with Samoa Joe.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. And I was talking with Adam earlier, and I was like, for me, in terms of quality of storylines and storytelling, like just from a narrative perspective, which is what this show is ostensibly about, what my like power rankings for quality of story and storytelling, number 1 is AEW, and NWA Power is number 2.
Yeah.
For me.
Close. Yeah.
And then NXT is number 3, and the main roster is this puddle at the bottom of it.
AEW is definitely winning as far as like the way they present their storylines and like their characters and making things matter.
Yeah. And if you're looking at the Wednesday Night Wars, for whatever it's worth, ratings-wise, AEW has beat NXT every week.
Yeah. But I mean, like
handily.
they're not, AEW is not, I mean, even Chris Jericho has said, like, they're not competing directly against NXT. They're still competing against Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, I know. I know that.
Yeah, we know that. And it's just like, but it's like, I don't know. I just think that it's nice to have an alternative.
Yeah.
And I hope that it continues on this its current trajectory of how they're presenting things and how the product is showcased.
Yeah.
Because I think it's good. I think it's just good. It's like a couple hours long or whatever, but it doesn't feel like it's a couple hours long. You know, like when I watch like SmackDown, sometimes I'm like an hour. I'm like,
This is a great time to be a fan of pro wrestling. There is so much to choose from, and there's so much good pro wrestling being produced for TV for you to watch.
Yeah.
So like that's great.
Yeah.
And whatever you choose to watch obviously is up to you. But I'm really enjoying AEW and NWA and NXT. And I will keep watching Raw for the benefits of this show, so I can tell you about the terrible storylines that they have.
The Rusev thing is egregious. Good Lord.
It's particularly bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like makes me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, don't watch wrestling.
Don't
It's
watch
dumb.
this. Don't
go to Camelot. It's a silly place.
Someone comes into the room, it's like, I was watching porn. Change the channel.
I'd rather have my grandmother walk in on me watching porn than to walk in on me watching the Rusev storyline.
Well, especially because the scenes with like Lashley giving Lana a massage looks like it's meant to be the start of a porn.
Yeah. Sucks, dude.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Like, I was watching Sailor Moon. I don't know why I picked Sailor Moon, but
I do.
yeah. Because I looked at Beach, I was like, what's the first thing I think of?
anime.
Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon, yeah.
But that's it. I mean, that's a lot in a very short amount of time, and I hope that we were able to cover things.
Yeah, it'll
to a
get better going
satisfactory
forward, but I think we just
degree.
wanted to get like a general consensus of how we feel about each product. Right?
Yeah.
This was just like, it's not like a covering the minutia of every show and like how we feel about these storylines going forward. It's just like, this is generally what we feel. We're just trying to get back in the swing of things. So it's like, here's what we think about the main roster.
Sorry,
Very insistent.
we're fine.
Don't worry, we'll fire him after the show. Then it'll just be me.
It's all good.
But yeah, we just wanted to kind of just get a show out there. But I think we just wanted to get a general idea of like the landscape.
Yeah.
This is just like, we wanted to like just give you an idea of everything that's going on.
The great 2019 pro wrestling reset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody hit a button and they were just like, yep, restart it all. Fuck it.
Yep.
Yeah.
here we are. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That is going to do it for this episode of Sidewalk Slam. Back, baby. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. If you want to talk to us about wrestling, we're happy to do that. I'm on Twitter at Graham_LRR.
Yep. And I'm on Twitter at WakeUpSuper. And Beej is on his weird ass. Just wait. I look at it every time I edit this stupid ass show. Beej at Octagon. Octagon.social.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or Tux Beach on
Or
Twitter.
Tux Beach, but
Thanks,
Beach
Beach,
hates
also
Twitter.
for joining us. And Adam will be editing this. And yeah, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Thank you so much always for all the support. And let us know what you thought.
Also,
Yeah.
watch Road Quest.
Yeah.
That's a show that we do on this channel. You should watch it. It's
real good.
We all went on a road trip, Top Gear style, if you're aware of that show.
Yeah.
And there's 6 of us, 6 comedians.
12 episodes from a 10-day road trip. It's a heck of a thing. Check it out.
You should check it out. There's 2 episodes out, and it premieres every Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
There'll probably be 3 episodes out at least by the time you see this.
Yeah.
So
And when we started the run, Adam and I didn't really know each other at all.
yeah, they didn't know each other, and
Dude,
now
watching like the first episode, I'm like, this is weird. That's not how I talk to Beej. It's like, that's not how I talk to Beej at all. I don't like this at all. I don't like this.
after 10 days in the crucible.
Yeah, that is a crucible.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us for Sidewalk Slam, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.